So here we have yet another story where a black man has been murdered by these terrorists in blue. And his name was Walter Wallace. As you can see, he's right there. And in the picture next to him is a screen capture from the dash cam, or not dash cam, but from whoever was recording. And that's him right in the black near the black vehicle. And because he has something in his hand and it's a knife, and they blurred it out. And then you have the cops that are right there aiming their guns toward him. Now, this guy was not even an immediate threat. When I say immediate threat, I'm talking about a threat as far as him charging them with the knife. As a matter of fact, the guy's mother was out there trying to restrain him and hold him back, just in case, because they already know how trigger happy these individuals can get. But they still shot and killed him anyway. And I think they said that he got shot over a dozen times. So you're talking about over 12 times over a non-projectile style weapon. Now, many have said this, and I'm going to piggyback off what people have said. If he was a palm-colored male, knife, gun, or whatever else that was in his possession, they would have tried to plead and calm him down to drop the weapon. Or they probably would have tased him if they would have even done that. But nope, they decided to do what they always like to do, and that's shoot to kill. Now, granted, he had a knife in his hand, so, that would be considered a weapon. But the difference is these PC males, or even some of the women, are allowed to do the same thing, maybe even worse. And then that's when the boys in blue want to go and stick to protocol and decide to de-escalate the situation, because you got to protect the white boy or the white girl at all costs, no matter what. And they could be charging at you. I mean, how many videos have we seen over the years? How many stories have I done over the years where you've had PC women and PC males, and mostly the men, going and charging at these cops, at these terrorists, and the terrorists running away? I still can't get out of my mind that one who was running around butt naked, chasing after a cop who, mind you, had a big military style weapon. And the guy running naked, all he had was a knife. But he just got done killing like 2 people and was about to kill a third. But they was running away from him. Meanwhile, you had a young black man down in, I think Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, who was walking out of his house naked because, he had like an imbalance. And they killed him because they said that they feared for his life, even though he had no clothing on whatsoever. What was he going to assault them with? What was he going to threaten them with? All I'm saying is this. When they do something like this, or even more, they are able to get away with it. It's very rare that they will actually shoot to kill, unless they really, really have it in them to want to do it. Like I said, we live in a very us versus them society. And the minute we understand that, the more we will be able to grasp of this concept. That's why I keep saying that equality, in my honest opinion, is a myth. But let me get into it. More than 30 people have been detained and at least 30 police officers have been injured as tensions erupted in West Philadelphia after police shot and killed a man armed with a knife. Yes, in case y'all didn't know, people went bonkers. They went bananas after this had happened. And it's probably going to mention in the article, but I'm going to mention it now. And I actually saw a video, but I won't post it up on here, where you had the line of terrorists just standing, in a line like they always do. But somebody came by with this big truck and just mowed through a couple of the cops that was holding down that line. And you can actually see it. Like, if you find the video, you'll be able to see for yourself. And you can hear the reaction from the crowd. Police said in total, 30 officers have been injured in events related to the unrest in the city following the shooting of Walter Wallace, Authorities said officers confronted Wallace, who was reportedly armed with a knife, Monday afternoon. Police said Wallace was shot multiple times by two officers after he didn't adhere to calls to drop the weapon. He was later pronounced dead. Officials said most of the injuries to officers that occurred overnight are reported to be the result of being struck by projectiles such as bricks and rocks. One officer, however, a 56-year-old Philadelphia police sergeant, was struck by a pickup truck, which is the one I just mentioned, in the area of 52nd and Walnut Streets around 12:45 a.m. Tuesday. Officials said she sustained a broken leg and various other injuries. She has been admitted to the hospital in stable condition. Looting was captured on video Tuesday morning. Chopper 6 was overhead as people could be seen running from a Foot Locker store. The shooting of Wallace happened around 3:50 p.m. Monday when officers responded to a domestic call along the 6100 block of Locust Street. One thing I don't like about these type of stories, besides the outcome of it when someone's losing their life, is the aftermath and the commentary that's going to follow from the usual suspects. And the thing is, I already know a few of them that's going to be floating in my head when they get wind of something like this. They're going to probably try to dig into his past. They're going to say he should have complied and all this, that, and the third, even though PC has been known not to comply in situations like this, and they never call that out. They never say anything about that. And we know why they don't. Because they're on the payroll. They're not supposed to speak against Massa or Massa's offspring. But they'll have all the smoke for this guy, and they're going to dig in, they're going to probably try to dig into his past to see if he has a record, to try to see if they can justify. But the thing is, the fact that he was holding a knife in his hand, they probably won't even have to dig. They'll just say, well, he should have just dropped the weapon. He should have just dropped it. And here's the thing. Then the fastest, and here's the thing that gets me. They'll probably tell a black person to drop whatever it is that they have. And the person could drop it, and they'll still shoot him. Oh, he didn't comply fast enough. He complied, but not at the light speed, at the warp speed that we wanted him to. Now, I was reading something else here, and someone down here can correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere allegedly that he was pushed somewhere, or he was pushed into the street or something to that effect. I can't really pinpoint exactly what the person said, but I could have sworn I saw somewhere where it said that the guy was pushed from behind or something to make it seem like he was charging at them or something like that. I can't remember. I could be wrong. Like I said, it was so, a lot of reports can be conflicting. That's why I said allegedly, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, because I don't want to put it out there as fact and it's not accurate. But either way, this goes back again to what I was saying about the us versus them. This guy, killed immediately, and then and hit with dozens of bullets. Like, one or two shots wasn't enough. They went for the kill, and that's another thing they do. They don't shoot to injure or put down the person without killing them. They will shoot to kill. Look at what happened with Jacob Blake last month in September. That man was shot 6 or 7 times in the back. Miraculously, he lived, but he's paralyzed from the waist down. That was an attempted overkill. When it comes to us, they have to make sure we are dead. They are probably mad Jacob Blake didn't die. But when it comes to us, they got to make sure we are dead. They go for the kill. Reminds me of, another story with a PC male was, and people have now seen this video, even if the video is old, that palm-colored boy, man, whoever you want to call him, getting into it with that cop or that terrorist, sending him like on a little wild goose chase, like they playing duck, duck, goose around the cop car, and he ends up throwing the cop to the ground, and then he gets into the car and drives off. It's like they become the damn T-1000 when it's coming to dealing with us, but then they turn into like Jigglypuff when it comes to dealing with their own. Amazing. Not in a good way, but amazing how that dynamic, that paradigm works. It's like it's written into the fabric of the departments of how to deal or how to treat us, which is of no surprise, of course. But I'm sure there's probably going to be some more stuff to come out about this. I'm almost expecting to see what all the anti-whoever's are going to, what they're going to say, because I know they're going to have something to say, as they usually do. They're going to spread their propaganda as usual, because, you know, it's written into their fabric of life. Whenever something happens to a black person in this situation, it's somehow their fault. Always. And all they're going to do is they're going to harp on the knife part. That's all they're going to talk about. That's just like what happened with Laquan McDonald, when they said that he had a knife in his hand and he was charging at the police, even though you saw on the camera that he wasn't. And he was walking away, and they still shot and killed him anyway. And then went into the McDonald's and demanded all the surveillance video to hide the evidence. Y'all cannot tell me that these individuals do not act as domestic terrorists and as gang members. You're taking two relatively negative elements and combining them into one very weird package. But I'm sure, like I said, there's going to be more information that's going to come out about this. I'm sure there will be more updates to come, as this is still a developing story because it just happened. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one. I wanted to come back on here and add some additional information since the initial recording. As you can see, this is a different picture of him, and it's actually the next day after me recording this initial video, which was recorded on October 27th, and it is currently October 28th. So after, like, you know, really viewing everything, it turns out he wasn't pushed or anything like that. His mother was trying to get him to stop, you know, she basically tried to restrain him, which is something that I said. And then that's when he went out to the street and he held the knife up in his hand. But that still didn't negate the fact that they shot and killed this man and shot him a whole bunch of times. Like, you could hear it in the video. Now in the video, well, the edited version, it stops short right before they shoot him, and then they freeze frame it, and then you can hear the gunshots in the background. And then when I was pulling this picture up, I had the unfortunate viewership of seeing his mother crying over her son's deceased body in the street, and I was not going to pull that picture up because why? It makes no sense for me to do that. But I did find out some additional information that wasn't in the initial video. One of them is that it turns out that Walter Wallace Jr. had mental health issues. Like, he had something wrong with him. I'm not exactly sure what mental capacity or what mental state or what mental incapabilities he had specifically, but it's been floating around for the last day that he did have some mental issues. And this also goes back to when I say, or have said, and plenty of people have said before, when it comes to black people and mental health, it's something that on both ends, whether it's dealing with palm colored people and black people, that is not really taken seriously. And with black people, it's not talked about as much as it should be. And I've always said that this should be something that should be covered more often. And then when it comes to palm colored people, especially these terroristic cops out here, they don't care if you have a mental disability or not. They're still going to kill you. Just like I mentioned in an example where you had that black man down in Georgia who was walking around naked, and they still killed him. Clearly, someone who's walking around naked has something wrong with them, but they still killed him anyway. But they spared the life of that palm-colored naked man in Virginia, and he actually was harming people and did harm people to the point where it led to the point of death. So that was one part. The other parts I've seen is that people in Philly have been going in for the last day, especially last evening, which was the day that he was killed. I'm talking about they had them pigs up there retreating. Now, I can't, of course, play the video up here in this segment because I know YouTube would snatch this video down. But some of you, if you are on Twitter and following certain people, you would have seen the video. Like, they have been going in. Like, I saw a video where you had the cops standing right there, like huddled in a bunch. It looked like it had to be about, I don't know, it had to be like 30 of them. I'm not sure, but it was a lot of them versus the citizens. And the citizens were throwing things. I'm talking about they were throwing bats, anything that wasn't nailed down. They were probably throwing glass, bricks, whatever, and had them pigs retreating. I mean, I'm talking about they were running in the opposite direction, which is something that you never really often see before. That's something you rarely ever see. But something I put on Twitter is that not only do I see this as retaliation for what happened to this guy, this man right here, but I also see it as retaliation for the MOVE bombing back in 1985, which of course you know was a state-sanctioned order to bomb those homes where black people were at. And that particular area was never built back up. To my knowledge, it still is in rubbles today. And the sad part about it is, outside of the people who were in that, who were in there, who were killed, is that it ruined some other homes, neighboring homes that had nothing to do with the MOVE organization. I remember hearing stories that those who survived the bombings, when they climbed out of the rubble or tried to escape, that the cops was right there waiting for them, and they would shoot them on sight. They would shoot anybody who was moving. Like they don't talk about that. They do not talk about that. And that was implemented by that mayor. I forgot his name. Another agent. It wasn't William O'Neill. That was Fred Hampton. But it was somebody else who ordered that. And I think he is now deceased. So good riddance to him. But like I said, I think back to what happened with MOVE, which also happened in Philly, just like with this incident here. So Philly has a very racist past, to say the least. So it's come to this. It has come to this. It's like ever since what happened with George Floyd, it has now lit, I guess, a spark under a lot of black people's ass. One that has been dormant for so long, but now it's like that fiery spirit has finally awakened or reawakened, because at one point as a collective we did, well, kind of have it, but then it kind of died down. But now it's gotten to the point where that's it, the gloves are off, we're taking matters into our own hands, because if we leave it up to anybody else, nothing's going to get done, nothing will get accomplished. We'll be doing the same song and dance. But that's pretty much the update I'll have right here. If there's anything else that I'll bring to this, if there's any other updates to come, I'll add it in before I upload this video. So y'all remember on the tail end of the last part of the video for this video, I told you if there was any more updates that would come before I upload the video that I would incorporate it. This literally came up because I was just trying to find an article to post a link to in the description box. And this literally came in 16 minutes ago. And I'm currently recording it on October 29th, 2020. And you're watching this on October 30th, 2020. So this thing says, Walter Wallace family does not want officers who shot him to face murder charges. And literally right when I saw that, I had to catch myself, because I almost slammed my hands onto my desk where my monitor sits on. But then I had to remember this desk is made of glass, and I would have shattered it. And then I had to think, I think that damn Benjamin Crump, if I'm not mistaken, is attached to this family as well. I said, well, the fix is officially in. Why wouldn't you want them to face murder charges? Let me read this. The family of Walter Wallace Jr. believes the city failed them, but they are not calling for the Philadelphia police officers who fatally shot him to be charged with murder. Family attorney shot. Oh, okay, someone else. It's not Benjamin Crump. I thought it was him, because you know how he gets down. Shaka Johnson told reporters on Thursday, and here's why. They were improperly trained and did not have the proper equipment by which to effectuate their job. And if they couldn't qualify to do the job, then why did they do it? Why did they sign up to do it? And that was murder. I don't care what they say. Charged or not, it is what it is. The comments came after the family watched body cam footage of the moments leading up to Wallace's death, which Johnson says shows him in an obvious mental health crisis. The footage, which is about 30 to 40 seconds long, shows Wallace emerging from a house with a knife as family members shout about his mental condition. When Mr. Wallace comes out of the house, at least on this videos, we don't hear him say anything. It seems to be a person in a sort of a cloud or a stupor, or just not appreciating the gravity of that particular moment, which would align perfectly with what the family was shouting. He's mental. He's mental. He was behaving like a person who didn't appreciate the gravity of the circumstances. The family viewed the footage and listened to the 911 audio recordings related to the incident earlier on Thursday. The calls, footage, and history of police responses to the home will be released to the public in the coming days. Johnson said the officers fired 14 times at Wallace from about a car and a half length distance away. He said the city had failed the officers by not giving them less lethal options such as a taser to handle such situations. I don't think that's true, because I saw somebody had posted up a picture where it showed one of the terrorists actually had a taser. Like, they actually got a picture up from the front and they circled, like used a red circle and showed that it was a taser. And you could tell because it was yellow in color, and most tasers are that color. So I think they did have a taser, but they went to using the gun as their first option, like they do most of the time. And that doesn't negate the fact that they still executed this man. That was execution style 14 times for one person. Like I said, how many times have we seen these PC males do way worse, and they barely even get a bullet shot at them or near them or in them? It's very rare that they do, and sometimes they often walk away from it. They said that, I remember also, this is another update. I didn't know what he suffered from mental wise. They said he had bipolar disorder. Yeah, that's not good. Now it's going to make it seem like they're about to be headed on the path of forgiveness and settle for that check, and then this is just going to go away. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Why would you not want them to face murder charges? And it's literally in the family's hands. Like, they have the final say. All they have to say is, look, we want them to be charged with murder. Bet. Here you go. But you're willingly saying you don't want them charged with murder. What part of the game is this? I'm over it. I mean, I want something to happen to them, but after reading this, now it's making me, and I'm sure everybody else who's watching, is going to scale back just a little bit, because this gets ridiculous after a while. Like, you have the option to charge them and you're choosing not to, even though clearly that's what they did, and we can see it. And what's the reason as to why? That I've got to read that again. They were improperly trained and did not have the proper equipment. Well, whose fault is that? That's the fault of the department if they were improperly trained. Hold them accountable too by y'all saying that you don't want to charge them with murder. That now not only takes accountability away from the ones who did it, but it takes accountability away from the ones that were training them improperly. So you're basically letting two entities get off the hook. I don't know. This is probably gonna be the last update for this story as it stands for right now. Like I said, this just came through when I was looking for an article to put in the description box. As you can see, 16 minutes ago. So it's fairly recent from the time of me recording this. Y'all let me know what y'all think.